Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Okay, now it's time just to roll up our sleeves and get busy. So this is where the magic begins. We are going to walk you through the step-by-step guide to the Better Tomorrow Solar Home Loan Program, and we are going to tell you in each step of the way how you can prepare yourself for success. So Marie, why don't you kick us off? What do we do to get ready for the pre-work?
Good question. And what we typically do is we have a buyer's consultation like you would typically do, trying to understand your client's needs, wants, and what they want in their next home. Once we've ascertained that, we of course go to just step one. We recommend or refer them to our preferred lender who can also do a solar home loan program.
Yeah, that's vitally important.
Correct. And why do we do that? Well, I'm sure you also make sure that your client gets pre-approved, but we want to know what their purchasing power is for when we decide which homes we're going to show them, because that would typically be step 2 and step 3. Now, before we get to step 2, once the lender tells us, oh, Marie, your clients are approved at this, they want their monthly payment at a certain amount, with HOA, without HOA, be wary of that, the typical things that you would normally look out for your client. Then you decide, which homes are we showing them?
That's so exciting. And it's
Yes.
critically important because now when you're doing this pre-approval, and that's why it's so important to have that pre-work and that pre-buyer's consultation with your clients, because then and you guys have already started talking about solar. So that way the lender is right there lockstep with you on your team. So that way the lender can know if the buyer is actually qualified for a solar program or not. And so let's just assume for the sake of this conversation that they are. And then we got all that pre-work done. So exciting. So then we go on into step 2.
Absolutely. And often the client says, I'm not sure about solar yet at this point. Doesn't mean they're not going to change their mind. Every single case we've had where a client said they weren't sure. By the time we decided on a home and the client saw what their monthly payment difference is with or without solar, they generally choose solar. Actually, every single time.
Every single time. Yeah.
It's happened.
And it's just no different than you or I and consumers, right? So right now, they're in the mindset of thinking about buying a home. This is the biggest purchase of their life. So, of course, they're not thinking about another complexity of solar. So then you just kind of plant the seed early on, see if they can get qualified or not, and then they're going to be pre-qualified. And now you know what the purchase power is to go out and find the home that you're going to be able to add solar to. But now what Marie was just talking about is maybe they're not in the mindset right at that moment, but they sure are at the mindset when they start looking at the monthly bills and what are my monthly payments going to be. And we were just talking about a client that it was a very easy sell actually. His monthly utility cost is about $500. Well, what if I can increase your mortgage by $75 or $100 to save $500? Now they're in a different mindset.
Absolutely. So before we get to step 2, exciting, to clients' purchasing power is you decide which 5 or 6 homes, depending on what your max is as an agent, but we don't like to show more than 6 homes in one go. I would like to know which 2 I really want or I think will really suit this client. I will keep those 2 as the last 2 homes I show the client. So typically we would show the worst homes first.
Yep.
And the best homes last, even if we have to zigzag all over Reno and Sparks. Okay, therefore, what do we do next?
And that's a mastery level trick right there, because when I first started in the business, I went in sequential order and I'm going to save 15 miles in gas and blah, blah, blah. No. You want to show the not so desirable houses first. And you're going to end with the last 2 that are going to be the Cadillacs, if you will.
Absolutely, because at the end of the day, wouldn't we love to put our clients in a home in our first buyer's tour? That would save us hours of gas, wear and tear, etc. So the last 2 homes, before we go out on a buyer's tour, we log into the wonderful Better Tomorrow solar request portal. I've
Yes.
got that correct.
The proposal portal, yes.
The proposal portal.
Yes, yes, and that's where you're actually going to be able to put in your two best addresses, and that's what's so exciting, because now you are such a rock star when you pull up to these, because the first question they're all going to have is, hey Marie, what is solar going to look like on this house? You're like, well, I'm glad you asked. Let me show you.
And then you have your solar request proposals in front of you that you actually hand to the client with your typical buyer's tour paperwork that you would have pre-printed in any case before you go on a buyer's tour. So you just add this to your folder that you hand to your client. Your client's going to think, oh my God, how amazing. There's the pricing in here. This is how much I'm going to save. This is where it's going to go, the solar panels, and they will be incredibly impressed with you.
Yeah, and we'll also include a copy of proposals in here as well in
Yes.
this module, just so you can get familiar with to start to see them. And then keep in mind that the proposal is just that. So the proposal is just based off of the things we know about the property, which is the square footage and the price and those types of things. And then it's going to be really customized based on the consumer, the client's use or future of the home with regard to, are they growing their family? Do they want a pool later? Do they want an electric car? But don't worry about any of that right yet. We're still just going to go on into step 2, where after you have done your buyer's consult, you've got them pre-approved, and now this is exciting because you're going to be able to go right to the Solup showroom. This place is so amazing.
So what we typically do is you've set up your buyer's tour, you've requested your last 2 homes that you'd like to possibly write a contract on that day when you show your clients the homes, but you meet them not at the first home on your list of 5 or 6. You actually meet them now at the Solup showroom in your city. That is wonderful. It is just this high-tech experience of what everything all electric is. And it's not the future, it is happening right now. Your clients will be very impressed. On top of that, there will be energy consultants available to chat to your clients with regards to technical questions your clients might have before you start your buyer's tour, because you, the realtor, you do not need to know all the specs. The energy consultant is the professional, and they will help you with any of those type of questions. And the client will be so impressed. They can touch the Meyerberger panels, they can look at the Solar Edge inverter, and obviously these inverters and panels might even change over time. We'll have a different brands, but that will all be spoken about before you even start your tour, so you don't even have to worry about the specifications of the technical details of solar panels.
You know, and that's right. And I just want to give another shout out to our partnership with Solup. Solup has been so dedicated to all of us and our success that they have dedicated spaces and offices for us right there in the showroom. So you can greet your customer, give them something cold to drink, introduce them to an energy consultant. I call it the petting zoo. You can walk around and touch and feel it. And you really are just getting a high level mastery education, but you're actually just walking your clients through it, and they're meeting you at your new office that you have in the Solup showrooms. And then after you're done there, then begin the next step.
Yes. So at the Solup showroom, how blessed are we that we have a dedicated space, LPT Realty dedicated space for any agent to utilize anytime when the showrooms are open.
Yeah. And
How amazing.
And there's parking and, you know, the coffee and waters and, you know, whatever we need. Into the future, we're going to have electric charging stations. They can charge up their cars while they're in there talking for free. And that's just with the power, get it? The power of this relationship that we have with Solup. And that was really, you guys have met Steve already by now in the modules up above, and that was really his vision and his way of really just rolling out the red carpet for us.
Wonderful. Okay, so now you go on your buyer's tour, you were at the showroom, you jump in your cars, you go off, you show the 5 properties, the last 2 you can show where the solar array will be installed, the cost, and by this time you would have spoken to your lender during step 1, and you will know if we add $20 to $30 to $40,000 into either the conventional home loan model or the FHA home loan model, this is what the client's monthly will increase to ballpark. So when the clients ask you, well, how much will this cost me extra, but I'm really now excited about this, you can say, well, actually this will be $70 more a month on your mortgage, or 120, and let's not forget the electric bill will be now gone.
Yeah, and everybody, we are not kidding you. It literally is, I got all these power references. It's like a light bulb. So the light bulb goes off in their mind, and now they get it. Now they just saw the panels, they're envisioning a future of themselves becoming a renewable energy advocate that you have introduced them to. How awesome is that?
It's incredible. No other realtors are doing this.
Right.
You giving your clients an opportunity to actually save money long term, to lock in energy rates forever, because their energy bill will never go up. If anything, when we refinance again in future, because we all know that rates are coming down.
You marry the home and date the interest rate.
People can refinance and even pay less in future for their own power. Which is incredible.
And then by now you guys have seen the advantages. We've gone through the tax advantages and the benefits, and so these are all things that can help prepare you as you prepare to be a renewable energy advocate in business, to carve out your niche. As Marie just said, you're the only realtors in town that have this particular tool as a tremendous resource to offer to your clients.
Okay, next, your client says, yes, Marie and Mark, let's write an offer. You're all excited, you write the offer. Woohoo, the offer gets accepted.
Yay!
Just in terms of the offer writing process, no difference to your typical offer writing process. FHA, the down payment, whatever that amount is, all of that information you have from your lender already. You replicate exactly what the lender has advised your client's down payment is going to be, etc., etc. So there is no difference in your contract, because people always say, well, shouldn't I say something about the solar home loan? No, it's still FHA and it's still conventional.
Yeah, so the way that Marie and I do it is, at this point, we're going to park the solar concept, and then we're just going to do what we do in a typical traditional offer situation. We're going to get that offer accepted, and then we're going to reintroduce solar into this journey, into the transaction. But you're the one that really just guides this journey, and you're the one that knows when to park the solar conversation and then pick back up again. And that's where you'll pick it up again in the next step.
Correct. So in your typical offer, you would have 10 to 14 days for your typical home inspections. We typically write where it states additional inspections. We do buyer's choice. We don't specify solar site inspection. And then during the typical inspections, we like to have it all done in the afternoon. The pest, the home, the AC, whatever we need, fireplace. We will also request Solop to do their solar site inspection during the same time frame. They will need access to climb onto the roof, and they will need access to climb into the attic. That is the only two things that they will need at the time, which in any case, the home inspector is going to do as well. So it's not like we have to ask the listing or seller's agent special permission, so therefore it's no issue. We'll just say all our inspections are happening Tuesday afternoon between 2 and 5. Is that okay with you, Mr. or Mrs. listing agent? And they go, of course, we're so excited, just give us feedback afterwards, like you would typically do, how the inspections went. So then we have that inspections done. Step 6.
Let me just add one more thing about inspections. And in inspections, it's no different with the, let's say your home inspector, and they would give a debrief to the client, like Marie was just talking about. Same with the solar inspector. Introduce them to that client again, because they've already seen the proposal, and now they're getting closer to solidifying that proposal into a bid. And if they have any questions, if they want to, let the inspector really be that source of the source for the solar topic in conversation. And a lot of times, the clients want to know, well, is my roof going to leak? And how do you install this thing? And so that is just a better way to get them accustomed and start talking with their energy consultants and the inspectors.
Wonderful. Then step 6 happens obviously after step 5.
Yes, and we're back over to our solar showroom.
Correct. Now the energy consultant either meets your client at this showroom or via Zoom, as you saw in one of the earlier modules where we did a Zoom evening call because the client was only available at certain times, which is 7 to 8 on a specific night.
They're very, very flexible.
Absolutely.
And at this point, after the inspector comes, the solar inspector, usually takes 24 hours for them to put their report into the solar portal, and then the energy consultant has it, and then they're ready to go with step 6.
Correct. And we are still within our contingency period in terms of inspection contingencies, because like a good realtor or good realtors that we obviously try and do the inspections early enough so we have a couple more days, to sort out any potential problems that might come up in an inspection. Okay, now we have the meeting with the client, the energy consultant, and yourself. You should be at that appointment if it's via Zoom or in person, because you are the client's realtor and you've introduced this program to them and you want to listen to what the options are. Generally, it's the roofs are fine, there's no issue, and the original quote that was presented during our buyer's tour stands. Every now and then, like in the Zoom presentation we showed you, which was an actual real client, the roof could be a potential problem. This was a really old house and it needed various things, including the roof. This is no problem with Solop. Isn't that wonderful?
It's so incredible. And everybody, I was watching this, and Marie handled this one, and the roof topic, if you're like me, you might just want to bury your head in the sand and say, oh goodness, what are we going to do about this roof? But it's really actually a great opportunity for your new client, for your buyer, to make sure that they're taking care of the life of this home.
Correct. And so now the roof gets included in an updated proposal. At this point, you will need to talk to your lender to make sure if the client can afford this additional cost, but it is really minimal in terms of the bigger picture. And the other option, or the other thing that the solar site inspector looks at as well, is the electrical panel, making sure that's up to standard. And then when they have this meeting in step 6 with your client, they're going to ask the client specific questions about their future lifestyle. Do they want a swimming pool? Are they going to have 5 children? Are they going to have 3 extra cars? Do they want electrical charging stations for their vehicles?
The fountain.
Do they maybe want a battery pack, power battery pack in their garage versus just the inverter, etc.? This will make changes to the quote as well. So this is the point where the quote can be customized and the bid gets finalized.
And the other thing I wanted to add here, and this is just pausing for 1 second in the process. So then what I've done, and you don't have to do this, but you can do it. And this is how I've introduced what we're doing on the buy side to the other agent. Hey, we're working on the Better Tomorrow solar program. And they're like, whoa, what is that? And then we tell them, and I just said, if it's okay with you, would you mind going in and asking your client if we could have a copy of their utility bill? And it's okay if you've got a agent on the other side that's really easy to work with. One, they're going to be super excited to learn, what are you talking about? So you can use that in the future to help with your business. We can talk about that in some other episodes. But the second thing is that if they're easy to work with, I've had every one of them say, not a problem. Can I get it to you tomorrow? You don't necessarily need it, but it would be really good to have, because it does help the energy consultant to see what that meter was doing. And like Marie was talking about, now we're going to go back to the 9-step journey here, and they're going to be looking at the solar panel. And many of the homes, and they just really are maxed out with their
electrical panel.
What did I say? Energy?
Solar panel.
Sorry. Coffee, the electrical panel. So anyway, but that's not a big deal either. You know, they're very used to having to update these panels and include them into the cost. And then at the end of the day, you're going to have a great conversation with your clients and the energy consultant, because all of these things, they all qualify for the federal tax credit. So you're going to even really talk about the maximizing the benefits there in step 6 when you're meeting with the power arranger and your energy consultant.
Absolutely. And once we've had the meeting, typically with the power arranger / energy consultant, clients typically don't want the energy consultant to know their personal financial information regarding the loan that they could be taking out on this future purchase. So I generally say, thank you so much, Mr. and Mrs. Power Arranger. We will leave you now. And then I have a private meeting with my client, exactly like I did in that Zoom you saw, where we said goodbye to Nathan.
Yep.
And then I stopped the recording because, of course, I don't want to share his personal information with the whole world. He already gave us approval to request that, to record that section.
Yeah.
Then I continued the Zoom and presented the monthly payment of what this array and solution would cost with or without solar. And that is how your client makes a decision. As soon as they've made the decision, you need to let the lender know, and you send the lender the contract.
The proposal, yeah. Oh, the
Solop,
bid. Yeah.
Solop already knows exactly how to present the quote or bid, the final option, to the lender, because the lender's underwriters has already looked at everything and said, this is how we want this information presented to us to go through final underwriting approval. So Solop knows how to do that. You don't even have to worry about that. And the power arranger sends it to the lender and copies you on that email. It's done.
You know, and it's amazing. And the other thing is, at this point, you've done your job as a renewable energy advocate, as a realtor now in this space. You have presented your client with all of the information so that they can make an educated decision. Spoiler alert, we're 10 for 10. Everybody they just see it. They just take the solar because of what's happening with the utility bills. They're not going down. Gas prices don't usually go down.
Neither does electric.
Electric is not going down. And so anyway, and then the other thing I wanted to add is that don't worry about the governance and the paperwork and all that type of stuff like Marie was talking about, that we have already got it figured out with Solop with regard to underwriting. But also remember, early on we talked about this, they also take care of all the permitting. If it's an HOA, they'll take care of the HOA. And the reason why we had to get all of this done in advance is so that way, when we do close of escrow, we have a certain amount of time that solar has to be installed and ready to go. So we have already paved the way for that, and Solop is really attuned to what the paperwork has to look like for underwriting.
I want to go back to when we finish with step 6. If you are not comfortable with presenting to your client the monthly difference with regards to solar or no solar, it is the lender's opportunity to facilitate that. Make sure that your lender speaks to the client timeously, because the client needs to make a decision timeously, because we want to then proceed to close of escrow.
Right.
And the lender needs to do a little bit of extra additional work between the client's decision to go ahead and close of escrow with regards to their closing the documentation and the timing they need. But it's been working out fine with us. Every single client of mine have asked me to show them the difference, and I say you've got to verify it with your lender. Right. Verify everything, because I am not the lender.
Sure. And and then you just stay in your lane, and you never want to be the source of the source unless, you're that subject matter expert. But then the other thing, this really kind of puts a nice bow on this whole process and this whole journey, is we have really found that the success rate of at least effective communication in the whole process is meeting with the lender. Doing that first step in the very beginning with that pre-approval. And I know that we had COVID and we got, kind of out of the face-to-face meetings. But for something like this, let's start fresh with this new journey, and you as putting on a new armor of renewable energy advocacy. Meet your clients in the lobby. You don't have to stick around, but just meet them. Hello, how are you? Here is Katie. Katie and her team do a great job. This is our preferred lender that we're working with. And then just bounce out. Just get them something to drink and away they go. The reason why it's so critically important is for step 6 here that we were just talking about is so that way we can give them an overall of this is what the differences in the payments would be with or without and those types of things. But then you have hand-to-glove relationship with your lender, and that way it doesn't really rock the boat, and then you are really smooth sailing into a close of escrow in step 7.
Absolutely. And then that is so easy. We all know how a close of escrow runs. So the client gets the key when the deed records, and now we're all having a party. And as soon as the deed is recorded, we email Solop, the energy consultant, and we say, deed is recorded, home is in the client's name, party, and then Solop starts talking to the client directly.
Immediately.
And they will schedule the solar installation.
Let me just back up. So when Marie said we, that is you. The realtor has to, at the close of escrow, the collective we, the realtor, you're not off the hook yet because you want to just continue to facilitate this party. You want to continue to facilitate the conversation. So let's say I'll use Northern Nevada as an example. And so, hey Nathan, great news, the energy consultant, that we closed escrow on 123 Main Street, and they're so looking forward to you calling them next. Or I join everybody on the text thread again. Or if it's in the South, it would be Brian. And so that is the person that is going to be like your host and your concierge to the next part of the party until we can get them to their better tomorrow, which is their permission to operate.
Wonderful. And straight after close of escrow, that is when Solop starts their permitting requests, their HOA requests, etc. That is when it all happens. So that's wonderful. And what an opportunity for you then, because you will know when the solar installation is going to happen. You can be invited to that solar installation party. You can see your client again. So it's another opportunity post close of escrow to see your client face to face, potentially get a review if you've still not received a review, because who does not want to build up their Google or My Business Page Google reviews? That really helps.
Yep.
So now you have the solar installation, you there. Imagine the farming opportunities you have, because there's going to be ruckus in the neighborhood. There's these trucks pulling in, people climbing onto roofs, solar array being installed. Possibly by then your clients have told some of the neighbors that they've met, oh, can you believe this is what I did? And then you arrive at the solar installation and you meet possibly the neighbors. You can only gain future clients.
You know, it's so exponential here in the business opportunities and the business development. So real world case, the case study that you saw on the Zoom with the presentation for the proposal. So in that particular area where that client bought, there's no other solar. So at the time of this recording, we have already done a 100-piece mailer. There's already going to be door knocking going on in that neighborhood. We're going to introduce ourselves. Hey, we just sold this property over on this street in your neighborhood. And I like to start the conversation, and I want to apologize in advance because we're going to have some trucks coming in, but it's exciting. Your neighbor's getting solar. Can I tell you about it? Do you have a minute? And then I can leave a flyer. So there is many, many ways that you can increase the ripple effect in your business, and also just keeping with the traditional real estate, but then adding your niche as a renewable energy advocate that really has become our primary function in our business. And we're kind of just bringing real estate along for the ride, or maybe real estate is the vehicle, and we've just repainted our vehicle with this renewable energy advocacy. The other thing I wanted to mention about the permitting, Marie was talking about then the permitting begins. And some of us may be wondering, gee, why didn't we start the permitting process early in the process? We really can't, because we have to wait until the home transfers ownership. And then you can start the permitting process with the actual owner's name in the deed of record for them to be able to request. So, but don't worry about it. The permitting, I thought, was, oh my goodness, that could take forever, or SolUp has it all figured out. They have the process for each one of the counties, each one of the city managers, all of the HOAs throughout the state. That's why they're the #1 solar supplier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so now you're at the solar installation, and straight after that, there will be a final inspection to make sure, yes, the solar is installed correctly, the buyer, which is the new owner, is happy. And then what happens is we actually call it a permission to operate party, or PTO. Once again, we will be there. The energy consultant will be there, the client will be there, and that's the day that the solar array gets connected to the NV Energy or whichever utility connection.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the day your client now is becoming energy independent, and they're going to be making money back with the net metering in Nevada. How wonderful is that?
It's so wonderful.
And so that party is wonderful. And then we didn't speak about how is SolUp getting paid.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's not as complex as it sounds. Go ahead, Marie. Let's talk about one that we're just doing right now.
Okay, so as we close escrow at step 7, either the title company will do a holdback depending on the lender. So Patriot does not do a holdback of funds. They need a title company to hold back the funds. In our case study, which is one of our other case studies, Tycor Title is doing the holdback, and they charge $150, which was charged to the buyer.
Correct.
Okay?
Right.
Guild does not require a title company to hold back any fees to pay the solar company. They will hold the funds themselves, and when permission to operate is finalized, and the client, the new homeowner, says to either Guild or Tycor Title or the title company, yes, we're so happy, everything's installed as per our agreement. They sign off on the necessary paperwork, and the funds get released to SolUp. And then who also gets paid?
Hello. Make it rain. Yeah.
You get paid.
You get paid. And we've already talked about that. It's $1,000 depending on the size of the system, or up to $1,500. And so we want you all to start thinking about, and I really encourage you, go back and listen to this one and take the notes, and really think about maybe some things we missed in your business opportunities. Share those out in the community that we have created for everybody else to collaborate with in this space. The other thing I'm going to share with you is Marie and I have this really great idea, and it's just in from the Bright Idea Factory. And it's just a little gift. It's a little gift to give to your clients. It's like roughly $20-25, but it's really a memorable experience. Use that as a social media event. Use that as to continue the narrative and the excitement. How wonderful for you to be able to introduce this into your business, introduce it to your client. They're now becoming a renewable energy advocate like you. They've reduced their fossil fuel consumption. I mean, it's just a win-win-win for everybody. And if Mother Earth could give us a hug, I think she would. So there we have it. There are the 9 steps, and you make sure that you go back in here and see this again, step-by-step guide to the Better Tomorrow program. If you have any questions, jump out into the community, and you can ping the group there, and we have frequently asked questions. Take a look at the downloads that are in this module to give you more information, and practice. Just practice on this. Marie and I, we script all the time whenever we are working on something, and I encourage you guys to do the same thing. And if you have any questions for us, please don't hesitate. Reach out to us. And of course, lean into your energy consultants at SolUp. You're really going to enjoy the beautiful partnership and relationship that we have with this amazing, amazing company. So until the next one, see you soon.